Step out of screen, buddy. All right.
Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. My name is Deborah Takahara. I'm the Public Information Director for the Douglas County Sheriff's Office. We appreciate you being with us for some very important information about elder fraud and elder scams going on in our community. Here are the order of speakers for this morning. First will be Douglas County Sheriff Darren Weekly, who will talk about a recent arrest made in a scam case. Then we'll hear from Lone Tree Police Chief Kirk Wilson, Parker Police Chief Jim Serapis, and Castle Rock Police Chief Jack Hawley. And we will have time for questions afterwards. Sheriff?
Good morning. We have an announcement about an arrest we recently made in an elder fraud case. A 79-year-old Highlands Ranch resident got scammed out of more than $120,000 in gold bars. On July 8th of last year, we got a report of a fraud case. The victim reported that her computer got a pop-up screen advising that she had a virus and that she needed to call an 888 number. The victim called the number, which connected her with our suspect. The suspect identified himself as a federal agent and told her that her personal bank accounts had been compromised. The suspect instructed her to use her personal money to buy 2 gold bars, each valued at more than $60,000 apiece. The suspect then told her to ship the bars to her house. She was told not to contact law enforcement. 1 week after the initial call, the suspect called her and told her to meet another undercover federal agent with the 2 gold bars at a convenience store in Littleton. She went to that location. Then the suspect told her to drive to a nearby intersection. The suspect told her once she gave the 2 gold bars to the undercover agent, she would be reimbursed by check. She did as she was told and met the driver of the vehicle. The driver did not say anything during the interaction. He just rolled down the window halfway to accept the gold bars. The suspect then drove away, keeping the victim on the phone until she got home. At that time, he tried to get even more financial information from the victim. She contacted her bank, where she was told the incident was a fraud and to end the conversation immediately. That's when she reported the crime to us. The victim got the license plate number, fortunately, which is out of Texas. Detective Eric Oppo did an amazing job on this investigation, tracking down the car, which was a rental car, and there were a lot of dead ends during the 7-month investigation, but he did not give up. Through cell phone records, credit card records, surveillance cameras, and good old-fashioned detective work, he was able to track down the suspect, 26-year-old Sagar Patel from New Jersey. He was arrested and extradited back to Colorado to face charges. Unfortunately, the gold bars were never recovered. I want to stress that these are allegations, these are charges, and the suspect is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. But bottom line, these cases are extremely complex, and it's often difficult to find these criminals. There's typically a 1% arrest rate, but we will not tolerate crimes like this in Douglas County. We will take the criminal reports. Our detectives that are assigned these cases will work the cases, and we will do everything that we can to bring justice to our victims. At the same time, we need everyone to take these cases seriously. This happens on a daily basis. We need to make sure people need to make sure that they don't give out their personal information or money to strangers. We also need adults to watch out for their aging parents. They are vulnerable and they are targeted by these criminals. And we need your help to protect them. Now I would like to introduce Lone Tree Police Chief Kirk Wilson.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Kirk Wilson, Lone Tree Police Department Chief. So we're experiencing the same types of cases in Lone Tree, and those scams have, there's a wide variety of scams. Probably everybody in this room has had a scam sent to them, either via text or an email, and they all typically have some common threads to them. One is the urgency, that you need to do something immediately, and it only takes one moment of bad judgment, to click on a link, to make a phone call, to answer a number you don't know. And oftentimes, our elderly victims they're a little more vulnerable at times than other folks. And we're continuing, as the sheriff said, they're difficult cases. Oftentimes, they're not people here in Colorado. They're not even in the country. So, some of those are, there's a virus on your phone and you click on it, and that's going to take you to some type of website, and they may try to elicit other information or put a virus on your phone. It could be an email saying you owe a bill. I personally almost fell victim to that because I actually thought it was a legitimate email, and then I realized, wait a second, what am I about to do here, right? So it's easy to have happen, and the variety of it is just unbelievable, and the tenacity of the suspects and what they're doing. I probably get a text message every single day right now on my personal phone asking me to do something which I know is actually just a scam. And so I think our common message really today, and I think you're going to hear it, is when in doubt, call the police department, have a discussion about what you're being asked to do. The government is never, any government, local, state, federal, is never going to send you an email, a text, or a phone call demanding that you go to a third-party vendor and exchange money to pay off some kind of bill or some kind of debt, or you've got a warrant for your arrest and you must pay. I mean, that's never going to happen. Yeah, that's not how the government works. The other thing I would say is, people listening to this or watch this, you need to have a discussion with your kids. You need to talk to your elderly parents. You need to have a discussion about how to avoid fraud, because have it with your spouse. Some people just are not aware. And it just takes one moment of bad judgment, and suddenly you're sucked in to a fraudulent situation. And we've had folks at Lone Tree who have also lost hundreds of thousands of dollars after they've been sucked into these whatever the scheme or scam that's been produced. So I'm not going to get into a lot of detail about each case. I applaud the Sheriff's Department for making this great arrest, and I'll turn it over to Chief Serapis.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Jim Serapis with the Parker Police Department. Thank you for joining us today. I wanted to address a pressing concern recently impacting our community: the rise of cryptocurrency scams. Over the last 6 months, the Parker Police Department has received reports of residents falling victim to these scams, resulting in losses exceeding $800,000 in total. In a recent example, we had a 79-year-old victim who was called and told she missed jury duty. Being afraid of getting into trouble, they convinced her to deposit $10,000 into their account at a cryptocurrency kiosk. Cryptocurrency scams come in various forms, and scammers are constantly evolving their tactics to exploit unsuspecting individuals. One particularly insidious tactic involves targeting our elderly population by fabricating emergencies involving family members and requesting payment in cryptocurrency. It's disheartening to witness individuals, particularly our elderly population, being targeted by these scammers who will exploit emergencies involving their family members as well as situations of their targeted victims. These heartless perpetrators manipulate emotions and urgency to coerce their victims into sending cryptocurrency as a form of payment. We all must remain vigilant and take proactive steps to protect ourselves and our loved ones from falling victims to these scams. Some crucial points to keep in mind. Educate yourself and your family members about the common signs of cryptocurrency scams, including unsolicited cryptocurrency payment requests, high-pressure tactics, and promises of guaranteed returns. Never send cryptocurrency or any form of payment to individuals or organizations claiming to be in urgent need without independently verifying the situation. Take the time to confirm the legitimacy of the request through trusted channels. Be cautious when sharing personal information online, especially in response to unsolicited messages or emails. Scammers often use social engineering tactics to gather information and manipulate their victims. If you suspect that you or someone you know has fallen victim to a cryptocurrency scam, don't hesitate to contact the authorities immediately. Prompt reporting can help prevent further financial losses and aid in the investigation of these fraudulent activities. In conclusion, we need to work together as a community to raise awareness about cryptocurrency scams and other scams and empower ourselves with knowledge and vigilance. By staying informed and taking proactive measures, we can safeguard against falling victim to these malicious schemes. The Parker Police Department, along with our partner agencies in Douglas County, will be spotlighting some of the scams targeting our elderly populations on our social media sites to increase awareness of our communities, and help to combat these crimes before they happen. Now I'd like to introduce Chief Jack Cawley with the Castle Rock Police Department.
Good morning, Jack Cawley, Chief of Police with Castle Rock. So I'm going to kind of reiterate some of the things that have already been said, but this is such an important topic that we want to make sure that everyone really has a good understanding of how critical it is, of how we can help together between the policing agencies, the Sheriff's Office in Douglas County to do what we do, which is to protect and serve our community. And for us, one of the most important things we do is protecting the most vulnerable within our communities, is protecting the vulnerable from harm. And seniors are one of our most vulnerable demographics. They tend to be trusting. They tend to want to listen to people. They tend to want to be helpful. And because of that, they are more susceptible to these types of scams. And think about it. Our parents, our grandparents, they've worked their entire lives to save for retirement. And that retirement day comes, and somebody comes along and decides that they're going to take that away from them. That's heartbreaking. Any type of a victim in a scam is heartbreaking, but that is so heartbreaking to see that, and we see that a lot, way too much. Our hope is that we don't have to come back to you with another example of the great work that Douglas County has done here in the case that they talked about. Our hope is that we don't have any more of these. So really, for us, the message is prevention. And to do that, it's important for us to have hard conversations with our parents and our grandparents and inform them up front. So we came up with something that we hopefully will help people remember of some tips, and that's SCAM, S-C-A-M. And it's about, first of all, is stop. Because as you heard earlier, some of these people who are trying to do these scams with our senior population, they're trying to make this an emergency, it's urgent, and to act fast. So the first thing is just to stop. And then to call somebody, call the Sheriff's Office, call one of the police departments and talk to us about it and ask questions and be informed. And the last thing is making a decision, an informed decision. So we really want to give our senior population the information and the education to know that, hey, when they get this call, just stop, get a hold of somebody, and we'll help you through that. So prevention is key. And lastly, this is really personal to me because I have experiences with my mom, and it was heartbreaking to see what happened. And at the time, both of her sons, myself and my brother, police officers. So fortunately, we were able to have the knowledge to help with that until things got bad. And it's just heartbreaking to see that there's people out there that will actually do this to people. It's unbelievable to me. And I just came from a coffee with a cop event across the street over at Starbucks at the Outlet Mall. And I was talking to two seniors that live in Castle Rock, and they were telling me how much they appreciate the Douglas County Sheriff's Office and Castle Rock Police, and we were having a good discussion, and they were telling me about an interaction they had with one of our police officers. And I was like, oh, well, tell me about that. And they said, and they told me a story about how they get a phone call, and on their caller ID, it was from a local bank. That's what it showed up on the phone. And so the person on the other side of the phone said, hey, we need you to go to the bank and take out $10,000, but we need you to stay on the phone with me. And it was the female that had answered the phone, and the person on the other line said, and don't bring your husband with you. Well, she's pretty smart cookie, so she was thinking on her feet, and she told them, well, I have a broken leg. I have to bring my husband with me. So they kept the caller on the line, and they drove directly to the bank and said, here's what we got going on, and then they were able to stop the whole thing. So here we are talking about this. An hour ago, I just got another story about this. So this happens a lot. In this case, there was a good outcome. There was no harm done. But again, going back, it's going to take all of us together. It's going to take law enforcement, and it's going to take the community together to inform and help our most vulnerable population, and that is our seniors within our communities. And now I'll turn it over to Sheriff Weekly.
Thank you. Just this week alone, our office has gotten dozens of calls about someone impersonating either our deputies or even command staff members trying to get money from our residents. We will never call you, like the chiefs mentioned, we will never call you, law enforcement will never call you, government will never call you and tell you to pay a fine in that manner. But this is happening, again, on a daily basis. Most of us are aware this sounds like a scam, but several times a day this is occurring and people are continuing to fall victim to it. This is also very critically important. The Douglas County Sheriff's Office has a deputy assigned to our seniors in our community. His name is Deputy Ryan Faulkner. He holds classes on a regular basis and is happy to take calls if you ever have any doubts or questions about somebody contacting you. But I want to stress to people, and this is critically important as well, if you suspect that you are a victim of a scam, contact your local law enforcement immediately. Do not wait until the next day, because time is of the essence. We may be able to potentially get your money back if we can stop it in time. And certainly evidence can be lost if the crime is not investigated in a timely manner. So again, if you feel you've been fallen victim to this, or a friend or relative has, please notify law enforcement immediately. And so with that, I will turn it over. Any questions?
Hi, my name is Lauren. I'm with 9 News. I know that you had all echoed that these scams are pretty much all the same, right? But was there anything in particular with this gold bar scam that was different than what you would suspect or what you would normally see?
We're seeing something that's typically more brazen in these fraud cases, and we're seeing it more and more, which is alarming, is these suspects want to meet with the victims in person. And so that's an alarming trend that we're seeing recently within the last year. So obviously that's concerning. But again, these suspects do this so frequently, they know that they're not going to get many people to do this, but the more that they put it out there and the more people that respond to these phishing scams or any other types of scams, the more likely that they are going to get victims.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Can I clarify something she has? Sure. So, just to be clear, they're not all the same. What they have same attributes, and those attributes are urgency, right, third-party vendors, and they're trying to get the money, but the scams are manifesting themselves in like unbelievable, ideas that they're coming up with. So it could be a romance scam. So we had a resident in Lone Tree that got online, had a relationship with somebody. It was kind of a long-term scam, and over a period of time, ended up giving that person hundreds of thousands of dollars to help them do something. And even when we finally got involved, we had a hard time convincing the victim that they were being scammed. They believed everything this person was telling them. That's how insidious, I love that word, it is. And then there's other types of scams where it's just a phishing scam where you get an email or a text. But to echo the sheriff's point, this is new where they come face to face. So in the past, it's all about trying to get your information. Then they would create they would steal your identity and start somehow using, maybe use your name to get a credit card, rack up that credit card, and then when that's the way the fraud was completed. And really very little money the victims are out of. Now they're getting into people's bank accounts, their life savings, and asking for tons of money to be sent to a third-party vendor so they can avoid some emergency that they've created for them. And then they're literally meeting people at these locations and coming face to face, and that is new. It's also, extremely dangerous, right? What if there's a confrontation that occurs? So that's happened in Lone Tree. I'm sure it's happened in every jurisdiction. But it's on another level right now that we've never seen before, where they're skipping over the fraud part and creating fake accounts. They're still doing that too, but now they're coming face to face and really working people over in the tune of thousands and thousands of dollars of their money that they cannot recover, versus a check fraud or a credit card fraud, where really the credit card company or the bank is going to be out that money. Does that make sense? So, thanks.
Anything else?
Quick question. Jason with CBS Colorado. As far as resources goes, is there any plan with any of the different departments to increase, cyber type of investigators, or is there any plans to revise anything? Because I know recruitment probably isn't at its greatest that it's been, and how do you plan on working that out with your human resources?
We've already established a task force with Douglas County agencies specifically to investigate financial crimes. Our detectives are also specially trained to do nothing else than investigate financial crimes. Most of our agencies, as far as I'm aware, we're not having a hard time hiring people. People want to come to work for Douglas County law enforcement agencies. So from that standpoint, we're blessed. So, but I do anticipate over the coming years, this crime is only going to continue to grow, and we're going to continue to need to add additional detectives to combat this.
Anything else?
Well, I'll just add that it is taking up a lot of resources, and I would say we probably don't have, at Lone Tree, we don't have a dedicated detective to just work on cryptocurrency crimes or things of that nature, and they are very complicated. But we're going to start giving it more attention. What we have done is the things like what Douglas County has done, and had somebody who's working with the elderly and doing presentations. We've actually done that jointly in Lone Tree. And so anytime we get a chance to be in front of the community, and this is great, right? Hopefully we can reach even more. We're talking about scams, and we're talking about protecting yourself. And the problem is we just can't get in front of everybody and get everybody to listen to what we're trying to tell them. So.
Here, Sheriff Weekly, if you want to, that's just Alex Arnold with Colorado Community Media. It seems like we've been hearing more from law enforcement recently about this topic. I was wondering, when did scamming people out of their money online or over the phone become more of a trend in Douglas County? Like, when did you guys start seeing this become such an issue?
Honestly, it's been decades. It's a lot easier to scam people out of their money, to convince them to remove money from their accounts or to steal their identity, than it is to stick a gun in their face. And so Douglas County was one of the first agencies to start forming task forces to investigate financial crimes and fraud. And then with the growth of Douglas County, certainly within the city of Lone Tree, city of Castle Rock, city of Parker, those crimes have only continued to grow. Our population has increased an average of 2% per year. During the 90s, we were one of the fastest growing counties in the entire country. So when you bring that many people in, that's just that many more victims that could potentially fall prey to these types of crimes. And so I know every year the sheriff's office, as well as the police departments, they do analysis of their crime trends, and they determine what additional resources they're going to need. So for me, I'd have to go to the county commissioners, request additional resources, and then the police chiefs would go to their city council, city managers, and mayors for those additional resources. And again, I want to stress, this is just the ongoing trend of crime and what we can expect in the future.
Are you actively recruiting some of the, when it comes to recruitment, are you actively recruiting people who specialize in this type of, I don't know, surveillance, or how you go about it?
We're interested in people of all backgrounds. And, you know, somebody may be in a certain career field now, maybe you're an accountant or something like that, and you want to have a career change. We certainly would love to hire those people. Typically, you have to work your way up to detective. Most people start out as deputy sheriffs or police officers, either on the street or in the jail, and they're working their way up to detective, but that can be accomplished in short order. But we have many people that have different backgrounds and skill sets and levels of education. We'll take them all.
Some of you guys mentioned hundreds of thousands of dollars being lost in these scams. What range of time are we talking about with those totals?
I'm sorry, can you clarify maybe?
In terms of people losing hundreds of thousands of dollars in these scams, I guess, do you guys have a more specific amount, and what range of time are we talking about?
Oh, I don't have an overall amount for you or time frame, but I will tell you, investigating financial crimes, it's a very tedious position, one that I probably would not want to do myself. Some of these cases literally take years to investigate, and they're very complex. So, and then the detectives get, it never slows down for them. They get additional cases every single day. So they have a tremendous workload. Anything else?
Well, thank you so much. We certainly appreciate our investigators and our deputies who are working on this, as well as our law enforcement partners and the media in helping us spread this word. It's so important to get this information out to the community. So thank you so much for being here today.